It's a factory that grinds for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. The work here is fast and furious, but it's not cars or machines that they're building, it's bodies, one prosthetic limb at a time. For 30 years, the Red Cross's Orthopaedic Centre in Afghanistan has been a lifeline for people with disabilities, victims of airstrikes, accidents and congenital illness. But no matter how many limbs they make, the patients keep coming. 101 East meets the remarkable people risking their lives to help the disabled in war-torn Afghanistan. Sunday morning in the Afghan capital, Kabul. It's the start of the working week and the busiest day at the Red Cross's Orthopaedic and Physical Rehabilitation Centre. Hundreds of patients have come for treatment. Some have travelled for days, risking landmines and Taliban checkpoints to get here. Inside, physiotherapist Karima Nikgo is doing her best to calm her newest patient. 6-year-old Youssef hasn't walked for months, ever since he was injured in a hit-and-run car crash. His grandmother says he's already been through several painful surgeries. He's now terrified of doctors. It's Karima's job to help Youssef walk again, but it won't be easy. His legs are a mangled mess, but she's more worried about the scars she can't see.
The child is very sad because the child, they walking, they running, they playing, but he's always sitting on the wheelchair. He thinks maybe he will never walk.
Despite his injuries, Youssef is very lucky. Outside, we meet his 16-year-old uncle, Ezra, who lost his leg in the same accident. He and Youssef were waiting for a bus home from the market when a speeding car ploughed into them.
The driver tried to brake, but the car started flipping. Youssef was hit and went flying into the ditch. I was pulled below the car, and my leg went under the wheel. When I tried to pull it, I saw blood pouring out. It was everywhere, all over my clothes. I started screaming, "My leg, my leg."
Isra's leg was completely severed, but his worst fears were for Youssef.
Youssef was in the children's hospital, and he went into a coma for 6 days. There was only a 5% chance that he'd survive. I was crying a lot for Youssef. I thought he was dead. My family started to bring me pictures of him every day to prove that he was still alive.
Ever since then, Ezra hasn't taken his eyes off his nephew. Youssef's muscles are so weak that he's going to need leg braces to help him stand. For Ezra, the recovery is going to be even tougher. He needs a whole new prosthetic leg.
ما سر کار میکنیم تا اون وقت باز برای زنگ میدونیم که بیا کدام طوری صحیح است
For now, Youssef and Ezra head home. But the work for these technicians is just beginning. Over the next few days, they will painstakingly mould the new leg braces and prosthesis for the boys, devices that will change their lives. In the 30 years that this program has been operating in Afghanistan, they have made nearly 200,000 artificial limbs and treated almost 180,000 disabled patients.
The only place they can get help is here at this Red Cross Centre. I haven't seen another place that provides this kind of free service.
Can you show us your prosthetic?
Yes. Yes, why not? Yes.
Nobody knows how life-changing this work is better than Karima.
I've had this leg for about 20 years. I've never asked for a new one because I'm used to this.
Are patients surprised when you tell them that you have a prosthetic leg?
When my legs are covered, nobody notices anything. When I show them my leg, they're totally surprised. They don't believe that with an artificial leg, they can walk normally. But then I show them. I tell them, see, my leg is artificial, but I still come here and work.
Karima first came to the Red Cross as a 13-year-old patient. At the time, Kabul was engulfed in a deadly civil war. She was shot in the leg 4 times while walking home from her grandmother's house.
When I regained consciousness, my leg felt very light. I tried to feel it, but I realized it had been cut off. When a woman becomes disabled, she becomes invisible. People think she can't do anything. It was hard for me to accept this situation. I couldn't accept it. I could have killed myself.
Instead, the Red Cross offered to train her as a physiotherapist when she finished high school. That was almost 25 years ago. Since then, she has helped thousands of patients just like her.
Because I'm disabled myself, I understand their situation. Whatever they're going through, I've already been through it.
The centre has a policy of hiring people with some kind of disability. Just like their patients, some of the staff have been crippled by illnesses like polio. Many, like Karima, are victims of the country's relentless war.
For as long as I can remember, there has been fighting in Afghanistan, and it will never end. Day by day, the number of our patients is growing. It's because of the war, landmines, suicide attacks, rockets.
Even by Afghanistan's grim standards, the situation here is becoming increasingly deadly. A record number of civilians were killed and injured last year in attacks by the Taliban, ISIS and pro-government forces. Some of the most brutal violence has occurred right here in Kabul.
We've seen incidents like rockets and bombs on the road. We've seen a lot of these horrible incidents. It's been hard, but we've gotten used to it.
Through it all, the Taliban has allowed the Red Cross to stay open.
A month after they took power, the Taliban came to our center. They visited the male and female departments. They were satisfied with our work, and we carried on without problems.
But in Afghanistan, nothing is guaranteed. Days into our visit, we hear about a disturbing development. The Taliban have just announced their spring offensive against the Afghan government and the military. So what this means is that we're likely to see a lot more attacks. But they're also saying here that the Red Cross will no longer be protected. This is a really serious problem for the staff and the patients at the centre. It's not long before the news spreads. In the women's department, Karima is also briefing her team.
ما نمیتونیم که به خاطر زیگه پا کار خود ایلا بدیم و مریضای خود هم تو بایم چون مریضای مضربت داره و کار ما میایم نرمتی کار خود پیش میریم.
Are you guys worried at all about your safety?
همیشه ما دمی حالت هستیم همیشه دمی حالت سر ما آمده مجبور هستیم تحمل کنیم مجبور هستیم کار کنیم وطن ماست این کپا همیشه هست کار همیشه گیسته.
While the staff here seem unfazed, I'm struggling to understand why the Taliban would ban the work of a humanitarian organisation, especially one that helps disabled Afghans. It's too risky for us to ask the Taliban in person, so we called their spokesman. You recently revoked the security guarantees for the Red Cross. Why did the Taliban decide to do this? Mr. Mujahid says the Red Cross has failed to deliver the medicine and services it had promised. The Red Cross says they can't respond because they're still negotiating with the Taliban. What we do know is that the organisation supports clinics across Afghanistan, in areas where it's difficult to access any other healthcare. Most of the people that work at the Red Cross, and certainly all of the patients, are Afghans, including members of the Taliban and your families. Are you hurting your own people by taking this step? But just weeks after this phone call, the Taliban did attack an American aid organisation in Kabul, killing at least 5 people, all of them Afghans. Back at the Red Cross, there's no sign of things slowing down. The need is simply too great. Afghanistan has one of the highest rates of disability in the world. Last year, a record 12,000 people sought help from the several rehabilitation centres across the country. People like Ezra and Youssef, who can't afford private treatment.
Youssef,
It's a big day for the boys. They're about to try on their new devices for the first time. They're pretty excited, and they're not the only ones. This little boy has just been given his new leg, and he can hardly wait to use it. It's not long before the technician arrives with Ezra's prosthetic. Even now, he can't help but tease his nephew. But it's not all fun and games. Physiotherapist Zirak warns Ezra that this is just the first step.
باید یک طفلی که نو پای میپوشه یا نو که استاده میشه چند دفعه در آن میفته تا یاد میگیره. این شکل ما هم اینه میاله از مثل از یک نو راه رفتن شروع میکنیم بسیار تکالیف ببینیم تا بتونیم راه رفتن درست یاد بگیریم. It's not only rehabilitation of a missing limb. We have to support him psychologically. We have to change his mind. He has to accept and he has to be ready for the future.
Shukrullah has treated thousands of patients like Ezra. He tells him the secret to his recovery is his mind.
و هیچ وقتی رو فکر نکن که تو راه رفتن نمیتونی. تو میفهمی که از من که خوب راه باید بگردی تو. من هم مثل خودت هستم. من مثل خودت پای ندارم. و تا بالا تو سر من نفهمیدی که من اینجا میگردم. ببینین این شکل پای من پای تو است. با این منظور نیست که وقتی ما پای خود دست میتیم زندگی خود دست میتیم. هیچ وقت نیست. خود سابق پالوانم بودی. پس پالوانی میکردی. میتونی پالوانی تو ادامه بدی. در هر قسمت زندگی خاصه باشه فعالیت کردن میتونی. فقط تصمیم در دست کیست؟ ما و توست.
It's a choice that Shukrullah faced himself years ago. When he was just 17, he stepped on a landmine.
My clothes was burnt, my face was burnt. I left my leg, there was no leg. There was nothing to save. There was no flesh, no tissue, only a bone. I lost my hope a little. I was not very willing to be alive anymore because I was seeing very dark my future, very dark.
He says the only thing that saved him was this job and the chance to help patients like Ezra.
حالا چی میکنی؟ پایت یک قدم پیش میمونی. اتو. آفرین. اتو. بس حرکت نکن. اتو. اتو. When I came to receive a job, completely my life changed. I don't know. I can be a man. I can have my normal life. I can be a normal person. And it gave me a hope that I completely forget if I'm a disabled. Completely. Even my family sometimes they forget I'm a disabled, which I'm happy of that because they should not consider me as a disabled people. They should consider me able.
This resilience is what he's trying to pass on to Ezra.
سایکو اتفلاکه چقدر خوب میگرده پایزم ساختگی دیدی پس میتونی.
But trying to motivate a traumatized 6-year-old is another matter. After not using his legs for 6 months, Youssef is struggling to stand, let alone walk. Karima is patient.
Youssef, از ما بدت میه؟ بلند بگو بلند. بدت میه؟ از زبانت بگو.
But no matter what Youssef says, she keeps pushing him. He has to use his legs to make them strong again.
درکی؟ بخی درکی؟ حیزمون لسونا واخلا. آیستا برو خوصت فشار نیارن تا آیستا با مدلت برو.
It's been a tough first day. Getting used to this new reality isn't easy, especially for Ezra. Just a few months ago, he was a confident teenager and a champion wrestler. But then his father died of cancer, and a month later, he lost his leg in the accident.
Our life has changed a lot. We've become poor. We've lost the head of our family. I used to go out with my friends. I was the strongest amongst them. Now I'm the weakest. It makes me feel so bad. I think about what I'll do in the future. Will I be a burden? Will I work as a laborer pushing a wheelbarrow? I can't even push a wheelbarrow.
Instead of worrying about school or his next wrestling match, Ezra now worries about his family.
I want to work to feed my family. I don't want to beg anyone for help. It's very difficult. I'm fed up with my life.
Ezra doesn't talk to his family about any of this. Instead, he focuses on helping Youssef. Ezra has brought his nephews and niece to the park as a treat. It's a welcome distraction for everyone.
Youssef has changed a lot. He used to play with all the kids, but he can't anymore. He's become quiet and he cries a lot. He asks me, why can't I walk? Why can't you take me out?
Youssef is still young, so his chances of a full recovery are good. But Ezra says his own future is going to be very different to what he'd imagined.
The other day, this guy came up and said, "Are you a cripple?" I can't get my old life back, but I'll start a new life. I'll continue my education and get a job. That's it.
Day after day, I watch Ezra come to the orthopaedic centre and practice how to walk. It's a slow, painful process.
Tell him that I have seen that he doesn't walk well. He does immediately limping. He has to make very short step, but walk well. Otherwise, now if he learns bad now, forever he will walk bad. You know the story.
Alberto Cairo is the Italian physiotherapist who has run the centre for 30 years. He and Shukrullah work hand in hand to make sure Ezra stays on the right path. But no matter how difficult it is, there are others here who are much worse off than Ezra. He says seeing their progress inspires him to work harder. Next door, Youssef is also struggling. But after almost a week of practice, both the boys are getting stronger and faster. Finally, the day has come when they can take the new prosthetic and leg braces home.
قالبای یوسف امروز خلاص میکنیم. مشکل نداره. امروز چهارخانه را میگرده. دیگه در خانه که رفتیم روزانه برای 1 ساعت میپوشانین، شب میگرده، باز میشینه، جراباشو میکشین. یوسف امروز میری؟ پیشمدق میشی؟ پیشمدق میشی؟ نمیشه. نمیگه. خیز نزنی. خوب با احتیاط را بدی که استخوانای ضعیف است، استخوانت نشکنه. صحیح؟ قول میتی با من؟ وعده است؟ برات قول دادم. صحیح؟ یک ماچ بده؟ ماچ. یک ازی روی تام بده؟ برای بخیر.
خودت علاقه داری بسکتبال یا
Ezra is also getting some parting advice from Shukrullah.
میتونه زندگیت نرمال ادامه بدی، تحصیلاتت رو در قدم اول باید ادامه بدی. در تحصیلاتت ما کمکت میشیم.
Shukrullah wants Ezra to join the centre's wheelchair basketball team and apply for the Red Cross's education program.
It's not only the matter of salary working with ICRC. I feel that I'm helping the people is like me. I help at least 3, 4, 5 people. I change at least one of them the life to be lighter in the future. So that is why I stayed longer with ICRC And I love my job.
Across town, Ezra and Youssef's family is waiting for them. Everyone is curious about the prosthesis. Youssef is also thrilled with his braces, although not for the reason you'd imagine. Seeing these cousins play and tease each other, you'd never guess how much they've been through. Poverty, pain, and the death of a family member. Their future is still very much uncertain, but now at least, there's hope.